Good day. Welcome. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Along with my on-air partner, Debbie Georgiani, I am Jerry Usher, the show team in place. Michael Birchfield, our producer. Jeff Burson is on social media. And you get to hear the voice of Ryan Penny when you call 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. How you doing, Deb?
I'm great. Good. Thank you. I can't wait to share with you what I watched last night on TV, and I'm super excited about it. But I'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to set the table for you to come and dine with a conversation. It's been heavy this week. You know, we've tackled some really deep topics, but I think it's necessary. We all do, and we've had some great feedback from folks emailing us, actually saying, you know, that's what I needed to hear. This was one of the best shows ever. I mean, you guys are so sweet. So thank you. Well, here's another heavy topic, but one we need to tackle together as a Take Two family. Jerry titled it Addicted. We're talking about addiction today and how it can damage lives and ruin families. And we all know about addiction, or it has touched our families in some way. We've heard about it, read about it, understand that it's a real problem and it's getting worse, especially with the pandemic. So let's talk about it. Okay. Anything you want to share? Remember, we always say we're guided by the Spirit on this and the conversations we have here on Take Two. So if you feel like, well, you know what? I know something about this. I could help. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. You're part of the family if you're listening. Dial this number. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till the last minute. 833-288-3986.
And as we do with shows like this, we invite you to use maybe a confirmation name, a nickname, somebody else's name. We just find that going to anonymous in whatever city, it sounds so impersonal. So we really want to have that, at least a connection with you by being able to call you by a name. So you can choose whatever you want. And what we're really looking for is, you know, if you're struggling with an addiction right now, what kind of help are you getting? Have you taken some steps? Have you taken a few steps and fallen backwards a little bit? Again, like when we do shows like this, it's not a tell-all. We're not looking for salacious details. What we want to do is have a conversation that shows that it's a struggle, but the struggle is real, and help and hope are real, and recovery is real. So maybe you're in recovery and you have been for a long time. Your voice will be the one that inspires so many people today because they are looking for that ray of hope. 833-288-3986.
We're not going to be doing a part 2 on this topic, so please don't wait till the very last minute to call in. Start dialing right now. The phone lines are wide open. You can talk to Ryan very quickly at 833-288-3986. That's the number to get on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. But Jerry, we have another very important phone number to give out, and we'll give it out several times during the show. And if you are in, you have an immediate need for help in this area, you're in a crisis situation, things are really, at a critical point, please reach out for help. It's there and it's waiting for you. Jerry, the number?
There's I have the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration Services National Helpline. You don't have to remember all of that. Just remember the number, 1-800-662-4357, 800-662-4357. That's a national line. There may very well be local lines in your area. You may see billboards up around your town of recovery centers and groups and support groups and things like that. But I agree with what Debbie said. If you're in a really bad place right now, reach out, get help from somebody, get professional help, and you could be on your way to a brand new life in no time.
That sounds so good. Jerry, that number that you just said, it's an easy way to remember it, is 1-800-662-HELP. Okay, 1-800-662-HELP. And Jerry, you started to say, how's it going, Deb? Can I share something really quickly? I'm super excited. I actually put it on my Facebook page, and I got like so many likes and comments. It was great. I just want to say a big big shout out and a big bravo to Abby Johnson and Nick Sandman. I was watching the convention last night and I was super, super proud in a good way to be a fellow Catholic to these two fine individuals that got up to the podium and expressed their impassioned speeches, coming out with the truth, right? The truth from their personal experience, I think was so refreshing. We needed to hear it. It was just amazing. And I loved how Abby Johnson had asked for prayers before she went on and gave her speech. She asked for prayers on social media and everybody prayed the St. Michael prayer. Nick Sandman, I'm telling you, I was so impressed by him. I wish he was my third son. I'll tell you, amazing. But then also too, I just wanted to say, Jerry, I was really proud of us on Take Two because a year and a half ago, we tackled this topic right after the March for Life. And I think we did a fine job. And I just want to say, Nick, if you're listening, because I understand people in Kentucky do listen to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, please let them know that we were right on top of it. And we had supported and defended Nick from the very beginning. And I'm really happy we did it well. And they did it well last night.
Yeah, they did indeed. And so absolutely a lot to be proud of, that's for sure. To get the pro-life voice in the media is so very, very vital these days. And what is also vital is that you call and participate in today's program talking about addiction. And there are so many forms of addictions, many that we wouldn't even realize. I mean, workaholism. Some people talk about work can become an addiction. Obviously, we know pornography can become an addiction, alcohol, drug abuse, misuse of, say, prescription pain pills or what have you. The thing is, Debbie, I want to make this point now and hopefully throughout the show. A person doesn't wake up one day and just decide, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start abusing prescription pain pills today and then become addicted to that. It doesn't work that way. I've known so many, mostly guys that I'd play ball with when I was growing up, and they'd get a baseball injury from playing, a recreation league baseball or something. They're like 30, 32 years old, and they'd get pain pills for this, and before you know it, they're in a recovery center. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at them, these are decent guys, hardworking, have jobs, have families. So when we talk about addiction, we do not want to be judging people because they have gotten into an addictive situation, because it's easy. In fact, there are very few among us who haven't had some addictive behaviors in our own lives. But how do we deal with it? What do we do with it? Is there hope? Is there ability for recovery? We want you to provide that hope today at 833-288-3986. We've got Albert up first, Nancy, and the others are going to be on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Take Two family. Jerry and I are so excited about the launch of Stand Tall, our new ministry designed just for you. Please visit standtalltoday.com and take a look at all the resources, devotionals, and services we have provided to assist you on your spiritual journey. Feeling stuck? Or maybe you feel like you're moving backwards? Let us help you take another look at life and make great strides toward being the person both you and God want you to be. Learn more at standtalltoday.com.
In these uncertain times, Catholics depend on EWTN's National Catholic Register. The Register is so much more than a newspaper. It's your faith, your life, your source of information and spiritual resources. The Register is uplifting, redemptive journalism, interviews with Catholic leaders and newsmakers, liturgical coverage, health, financial, and political topics, and analysis of the key issues you care most about. EWTN's National Catholic Register covers every aspect of the Catholic faith that impacts your world. To get 6 free issues, order online at ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. That's ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. The National Catholic Register. Read.
We hope you join us on this wonderful discussion we're having today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We always have great conversations here because this is a safe place. This is a place where we can really process things together, learn a little, grow a little, get to know ourselves better and the world around us. So please call in if you have something to say about addictions today. 833-288 3986. And Jerry, if I may, just to highlight a great program, Conversations with Consequences, Saturday afternoon, 5 Eastern Time on EWTN Radio. Dr. Grazie Christie and her team talk with the leading thinkers of our time about the topics that matter to our audience. It's a great program. Check it out, folks. Saturday afternoon, 5 Eastern Time.
Okay. And I echo the invitation Debbie made to join us here, 1-833-288-3986. Without further delay, let's go to your calls. First stop is Boston. Albert listening to the Station of the Cross and is now on take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Albert. Welcome.
Thank you. I am a senior citizen. I have a problem with crystal meth. I got into that after an abusive marital situation. It happened very gradually, and I called on your domestic violence program that you had several months ago. I wanted to publicize, I have not had a lot of good experience with the Narcotics Anonymous organization, and to be fair, I only checked out one meeting in one location. However, I have found two places that seem to be, two similar programs that seem to be working for me, and one of them is called Celebrate Recovery. It is an Assembly of God-based place. I have no intentions of converting, but I see nothing there contradictory to what I have learned in my Catholic spiritual journey. And the other one is Smart Recovery. My local Smart Recovery group is run by a psychologist who was an addict, or one might say is a recovered addict, and it's cognitive behavioral therapy based. And that's about, without, you said you didn't want to go into a lot of other details, so that's about the most positive and helpful thing that I could say. The other thing is I would encourage people to shop around if they are looking for therapists. In my case, I have not yet, thank God, although I am scared to death of getting there, of getting to the place where my family has discovered this and where it has caused financial problems and legal problems and all of that. But one of my problems and issues is the professional who is so used to dealing with that, with people who have that large of a problem, that I am treated the same way, and for me, that can be very counterproductive. So I would encourage people to shop around for a good fit.
You know, I think that that's really good advice, Albert. May I ask you a question? Are you open for a quick question?
I certainly am. I am open for more than a quick question.
Okay. Well, you've been through so much, and I just want to say, you know, what a brave soul you are, and you've come through that, and then you're offering help and advice, you know, for others, because you want them to be free of this as well. And I just think, you know, it just shows how kind you are and how caring you are of other souls. But when you were going through it, when you were really in the deepest part of the addiction, Albert, did you find that people around you, friends, family members, even the community, did you find generally they were supportive, or did you kind of feel like they had this cartoon bubble over their head where they were, you know, passing judgment or making, you know, critical assessments and stuff like that? How did you feel? Like, did you feel, you know, Jerry just wrote over like a leper, exactly, like a leper in your own surroundings? Tell us what it felt like, because I think sometimes people are hesitant to reach out for help or hesitant to speak about it because they don't want that coming back at them.
Well, that was not, I can understand that and empathize with that. That was not my experience. I had a counselor tell me 2 years ago that he did not think that I was an addict, but yet I think I am. I think I am somewhere between casual, quote-unquote, casual user, if there is such a thing, and addiction. So it never got that far. And I have been very successful in concealing it. I don't know how much longer, I can do that because I do relapse every once in a while. And it seems to be a grief reaction for, being a senior citizen with young adults who are on their own and don't have family around. And so friends and church have been very supportive, but they don't really know what my issues are. So I'm afraid that I can't really answer that question, but yes, I do fear that. And to be honest with you, I have a nephew who in the 1970s and 1980s was a cocaine addict, and I feel guilty now that I was not in a position to be helpful and supportive of him. But like so many other people, I didn't understand addiction and how easily people can get into it, and I did not do that for him.
Right. Well, I think this is why so many of the programs and 12-step groups and so forth emphasize, one addict helping another addict, because really it's kind of like anything in life. You almost have to have walked a mile in those shoes to be able to talk to somebody else who's going through it right at the same time. But I'm so glad that you said, Albert, no one size fits all. You really have to find what works for you. And I've heard it said before. Overheard somebody saying one time, if anyone tells you that this or that program is the only way to recovery or to success or to health or healing or whatever, turn and run the other way. And I think that's good advice, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. You had to find what was going to work for you. You found smart recovery, celebrate recovery. And I applaud those people. I applaud those in 12-step groups. Anybody, Debbie, who is going to take that step, that courageous step to say, no more, I don't want any more of this in my life, you have to applaud and take your hat off to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
go ahead.
Not to disparage anything that you just said, Jerry, but I think an important part for me is to have a separate group of people who are not addicts, because I want to feel and be treated like I'm normal, and I don't. And sometimes I just get tired of feeling like the verse, I think it's in one of the Psalms, that my sin is ever before me. And I feel that being around normal people who, quote-unquote, normal people who treat me as a quote-unquote normal non-addict is also very helpful to me.
Well, and Albert, I think you'll appreciate this. I've been criticized, although I will tell you there's been more, wonderful compliments, that outweigh the few, critical statements I've received over 5 years. But that's why I'm very much against putting ourselves in boxes with labels, very much against it. Yes. I don't like it. We're all children of God, and we have ups and downs and twists and turns. I don't like the idea of saying to someone, oh, you're a felon, or you're an addict, or you're this, or you're an... When we do that, we keep people trapped. We are all children of God. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we will all be. And I think we can support one another. And it sounds like that's what you needed from this group. Like you said, you needed this group to just recognize that your situation that you went through with crystal meth, that doesn't define all of Albert, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it does not. And one of the things that I have struggled with a lot, and I hope it doesn't feed into other people's resistance, but for me, it is, I don't want to replace an addiction to a substance to an addiction to a recovery. And so this is kind of a tightrope that I walk in this journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank you, Albert, for going ahead and saying what you said. You've actually expanded my understanding of this, which is something I really might not have first thought about. Is, like you said, you want to have maybe non-addicts around you as well, just to make you feel that sense of what it's like to not be an addict, to be accepted by people like that. So thank you. I'm glad you didn't hesitate to bring that up, because it has helped my understanding of this today. Thanks so much.
Well, and you agree with that, Jerry, because you and I talk about labeling very much, and we actually have done shows on it. And you feel the same way, that, we lose perspective when we just box people into a category, right?
Yeah, and it's so easy to do because we're insecure. You know, if something if people are dealing with something we don't know about and don't know what to do about, don't know how to help them, I think it's just it could be very tempting to do exactly that. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Albert, so very much. God bless you. Call anytime to Take Two. We just love you graced and started off this conversation perfectly. Okay, we're moving on to Nancy, and Nancy is in Spencer, Massachusetts. Sirius XM 130 is the way you're listening. Hi, Nancy. Welcome.
Hi. I would just like to encourage people to pray to Saint Camillus and to Saint Maximilian Kolbe, who was the patron of addictions. I myself am a recovering alcoholic, and I've been sober for 40 years. But I still have isms. I had trouble with the lottery recently, and I confess that. And since I have a spiritual director, he guided me in the right direction of, just take it one day at a time, which is what all the programs in addiction say to do. And I just want to provide hope to people that recovery is around the corner if you remain faithful to your faith.
Well, you're a great example of that, Nancy. And not only have you been in recovery successfully for a very long time and sort of remade your life, if you will, you have become someone who is gracing the lives of other people in so many beautiful ways. This is Nancy, who joined us on one of our pilgrimages. I think it was the M&M tour when we went to the North American Martyrs Shrine and the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy. And Nancy, you gifted us with those binders full of poetry that just shows, what a beautiful soul you have. And I think, Debbie, a lot of times when we have been down and out for a while and we come back from that, there's a humility, but then also creativity can come out of us, and the real person, who we really are, comes out. And I think this has just been a beautiful example in Nancy's life. Absolutely.
Nancy, we just love you. You are a precious soul, and you care about others. Albert started off the conversation caring about others and providing some places for people to go and to look into to get help. And you're sharing the same thing. Maximilian Kolbe, patron saint. And I just wanted to say this real quickly about addictions. We talk about this word, we throw that out there, and everybody goes, oh, that's not me. But come on, let's really look at ourselves. Let's really look at ourselves. How many right now are listening to the program and you have your cell phone in your hand and you're probably checking social media maybe, right? We tend to, we're almost being trained in this world to be addictive on some level with there's a certain area of it that we're drawn to it. Look at even television, maybe watching too much TV, eating too much, drinking too much, going out with friends too much, playing games, all sorts of things. And I think it's really important that we get back to who we are. We're made in the image and likeness of God, and we're created, to do really wonderful things for God. And Nancy, with your poetry, you're doing that. And I just think that's why we love you so very, very much. So thank you for sharing what you did today.
Well, I thank you. And Debbie, I do not have your email. That's why I have not been getting your messages, and you don't have mine.
Okay. Can you
get? I can quickly.
What? Okay. So here, Ryan, can you get Nancy's new contact information, and then I'll reach out to you, Nancy, right after the show. Okay.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Okay, thank you.
God love you and bless you.
Bless you too, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Stay on the line so Ryan can pick up your phone. Okay. Isn't she beautiful? Don't you love her?
Yeah. And she mentioned St. Maximilian Kolbe being one of the patrons of drug addicts, because I presume he was executed by I can't remember what they call it now, that they shot into his veins, but he chose martyrdom and allowed that gentleman to go who had the wife and the children. And I'm always inspired when we talk about things like this, Debbie. I've mentioned him before. I don't know how to say his name for sure, but it's Saint Mark Zhejiang. And he was a Chinese gentleman, and he ended up, there was the Boxer Rebellion, and Christians and foreigners were rounded up. He had an opioid addiction, and he would go to Mass every day, but he would not receive the Eucharist because he felt like he was not in a state of grace, and it would bring scandal. But when they were all rounded up, one of his grandsons said, as they were marching off, "Where are we going?" He said, "We're going home." And he told his executors, he says, "I want to be the last one executed," because he didn't want anyone else to die alone. This is the kind of thing that grace can do in the life of anybody, no matter what their condition is.
Very true. We're talking about addiction today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Please call in at 833-288-3986. And when we come back, we're going back to the phones to hear what you have to say about this very important topic.
Dr. Ray Gurendi.
Be grateful that you came to the faith when you did. Let the children see what mom is like now compared to how they were raised before mom or dad came to the faith.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Now, not only can you watch EWTN anywhere, but anytime with EWTN On Demand. Get on-demand access to more than 12,000 EWTN programs, including live shows and specials, all in one place, all free. Just go to EWTN.com/on-demand. There's nothing to fill out, no memberships required, and no fees to pay. All you need is an internet connection, and you're good to go. EWTN On Demand. Fast, easy, and free.
60 Seconds with Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen.
It must be understood at the beginning that the Eucharist may be considered either from the point of view of a sacrament or from the point of view of a sacrifice. In order to understand this distinction, because it is rather a technical one, we go back to the analogy of nature. Every day of your life, you partake of certain food, the products of wheat, vegetables, fish, meat. They all enter into the sustenance of your life. They nourish you, they feed you. But have you ever thought of this other side? Before they can ever nourish you, they must be submitted to some kind of sacrifice. Before they can be the sacrament of your physical life, they must die or be sacrificed.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
I'm Gloria Purvis.
And I'm Deacon Harold. The Morning Glory team asks, how do you handle children stealing?
Tomorrow morning, 7 Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is the program where you come in. It's really your show. Debbie and I come up with some topics we hope and pray will be of interest and impact to you, and then you call with your takes, your wisdom, your insights, your lived experiences, and we're talking about addiction today. We'll get back to many more of your calls. But Debbie, Karen, one of our regular listeners, reminded us, she said, please pray for everyone who was in Hurricane Laura's path, and we want to also pray for anybody who is in the path of any of these tropical storms, hurricanes, these natural disasters that are really, really starting to build up right now.
Absolutely. We are praying. Absolutely. Real quickly, Jerry, I just wanted to say, folks, if you're interested, go to standtalltoday.com, click on the book, check out the book club, the book tab. We're actually asking our wonderful growing, Gigi's the facilitator, our growing book club, for suggestions for future topics that they would like us to tackle. And they're coming in with some great suggestions already. So join the book club. Go to Stand Tall Today. Plus, you can also get free consultations for life coaching, which is always great because it's Catholic. It's amazing. We have a faith-based section for those that are not Catholic and want to really get a wholesome way to live out your life and to be free. And it's scripture-based, and it's just amazing. I just had to share that because I think it was appropriate, because I think as people are looking for help, we can be there.
For sure. Many more of you have something to say, to weigh in on this topic of addiction today, including David, who is next in Madison, South Dakota, listening on Real Presence Radio, and a first-time caller to Take Two. Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Hi.
What do you have to share with us? Yeah, we can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
All right. I was a 15-year opiate addict. Fentanyl was my drug of choice. I've been in recovery for just over 4 years now. And the addict does is they figure the only way out is death, which is where we can all get to at some point. But I mean, I'm not Catholic, so I just happened to be cruising through the radio station, and it's where it stopped.
Right.
So God does things the way He wants it.
That's right. And it's the Holy Spirit. David, we're so glad you felt prompted to call in. And wow, you got through that. That was a tough thing that had a hold of you, right? What can you share with others that are right either in the middle of it, getting ready to reach for help? Maybe they're still not, they're in denial, they're not sure. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's hope out there. There really is. I live in South Dakota, and I actually did a television commercial for the South Dakota campaign. So my face is actually out there with disease. Now I actually get to go and speak public.
Right.
Throughout the groups and whatnot.
Well, David, you mentioned that you mentioned that death is usually the only way out of the addiction that you were in, and then you said, well, we all, death comes for all of us at some point anyway. But was there any one thing? Was there a person? Was there something that somebody said to you, an experience that you had, where you finally just said, you know what, I am going to get some help. I'm gonna be courageous, take this step out as painful as it may be, and I'm gonna get the help that I need. Was there any experience or series of things?
Yep. I mean, I was 100 pills a day, and I had finally lost my house, my wife, my kids. I was homeless, and I actually went into the hospital for help. And doctor put me on some stuff, and I still had drugs snuck in, so I had 6 days I don't remember. And I came to in court, and there's a lady sitting next to me, and she said, tell the judge you're going to rehab. And I said, I guess I'm going to rehab. And I spent the next 44 days in rehab. And I've been clean now for 4 years, 5 months, 2 days and change.
Praise God for that. Praise God. There was that person that God put in your life right there. You may not have even been sort of conscious of your whereabouts as you, like you said, you found yourself in court that day. But it was that woman who just said, you know what? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell the judge you're going to rehab. And you were probably at a place, like you said, you just said, well, I guess I'm going to rehab. But you know what? God can work with that, Debbie. God places people in our lives like that. They may give us some guidance or direction that we otherwise wouldn't be able to come up with on our own. And now look at the success that David is having in recovery.
Absolutely. God uses people to help His children. And that's what happened in your case, I believe, David. David, can we ask you a question? Because speaking, because you've been... Oh, good. Do you think these conversations that we're having on Catholic radio, do you think it's helpful for people that are listening? I mean, you called in, you felt prompted by the Spirit. Do you think this is helpful to just have these safe conversations where we can explore things, process different feelings that we're feeling, and maybe come to a better understanding?
Oh, yes, that's for sure. One of the biggest problems with addiction, or at least an opiate addict or drug addict, there's much stigma from people who are what we call normies, normal people that don't understand what this disease is about. And the more we can get that out there, the more they can understand to actually realize this is a disease, it's not a choice. I didn't choose to be an addict. I didn't choose to start drugs. I had 13 surgeries in 18 years. I got hooked on painkillers. That's how I got going. It's not a choice. It's actually a disease. And I will always be in recovery. You're never recovered until the day God takes you home. That's the only day you're going to be recovered. Because this is an everyday thing that you got to do. And the price for serenity and sanity is self-sacrifice. So that's my sacrifice, is to put my face out there, to put my word out there, tell my story to other addicts. Because an addict understands an addict better than a doctor or whatever. And the more that normal people actually sit down and listen to an addict and see what's going on, and is able to kind of push that judgment and stigma aside and realize that an addict is a person, it's just the disease they have. There's a lot of discrimination as far as me being an addict. I've seen that throughout my 4.5 years of recovery. But that would be, for me, that would be like discriminating against somebody who has diabetes, because that's a disease. Just like addiction is a disease.
Right. Well, and you have echoed something I said early in the broadcast, David, and that is the way I put it was, a person doesn't just wake up one day and decide, hey, I'm going to be an addict of this or that or something else. It's usually a series of life circumstances. In your case, all of those surgeries, and of course, obviously, the necessary pain pills, and of course, some doctors, are a little bit freer than others to give those out, and there's no judgment there. But I agree with you. I think it's there's always hope. There's always a way out. There's always a way out, even though it seems very, very dark at times. And David, you have inspired so many people by your call today. And thank you for having the grace of God and the courage to call in, and for the other work that you're doing there in South Dakota by promoting, recovery as well.
Thank you, David, so very much. Call anytime, okay?
All right. Thank you.
God bless you, David.
Great call. That helped a lot of people. David's call, amazing. I'm so glad he's part of the Take Two family. It's wonderful. Everybody's showing up at just the right time to help others.
Yeah. Well, in his story, it shows you have so much to lose. I mean, a person can lose you can lose everything that you have, and then maybe finally get that, I guess they say hit bottom or whatever, and start back up the other way, and God has restored so many people's families and lives. I've heard about it. I've talked to people. So there is that possibility of hope out there all the time. Please don't ever give up.
That's true. Okay. Where are we going next, Jerry? I've got my pen and paper out.
We are going to Humble, Texas. Guadalupe radio listener by the name of Radio, a perfect name for our show and EWTN Radio. Hi, Radio in Humble, Texas. How are you? Welcome.
Oh, I'm fine, but okay. It's not really my name, but we are to maintain anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films if we're members of this particular 12-step group thing.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Doing great. How are you, sir?
God bless you. Fabulous show. All the good Catholic addicts that are listening. I never heard of St. Camillus, the lady a few callers back who mentioned St. Maximilian Kolbe. I know him. Maybe he was an alcoholic. But who's St. Camillus?
Well, again, I think St. Maximilian Kolbe was put to death by lethal injection. So I think that is why he's been taken on as a.
Well, maybe I'm going to read up on him. But what about the second one she mentioned? It was a St. Camillus. Did you ever hear that name before?
I have too. I have as well. But I would have to refresh on the story of I believe was he a priest? I believe he was a priest, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then there was a Mark T.G. James. I'm gonna have to read that one too.
Yes.
So my name is not Radio, and I'm calling in because I've been working this 12-step program. The first step is the only one that mentions alcohol, but God is mentioned several times in the 12 steps. Sometimes as God and sometimes as a higher power, but he being the highest power, for those of us that are God-fearing and know Jesus, know that the higher power. But, after years of addiction, it's hard to recognize, we choose not to recognize that there's any power higher than ourselves. Sometimes I hear it in meetings all the time. I wouldn't look to anybody else for help. I got this, no problem. Lost my car, lost my job, lost my wife, but I can drink a little bit more today. We'll worry about those things later. So having a higher power is, it's great to know God.
Yeah.
So glad.
No argument from us.
Right,
Go ahead.
Right. I don't have a particular bone to pick here.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to call in and share experience, strength, and hope. God is the great healer.
Yes.
12-step programs help us when we're coming out of the fog of addiction.
Yes. Yeah. Well, God is everything, and I'll tell you, it's so interesting when a beautiful soul realizes how much God loves them, and if it was only that one soul, that one person, God, Jesus would have suffered and died again just for that one person, and that's how huge the love is, right?
Yes, and you were talking about labeling earlier, and I think it's a problem when an alcoholic drug addict labels themselves as an alcoholic drug addict and put themselves in this box and don't think that God can reach in and heal them. I've got this, no problem. I'm going to take care of this. I'm just going to do a little bit more drugs and alcohol, and I'll worry about life and everything else later. But God does reach in, and he reaches in. I've seen it. My most recent drink was in 1987, and I have worked with a few persons who were coming into the program, young in the program, and watched them go, oh, I can pray about that? Oh, okay. Personally, I grew up in a God-fearing family. My mother taught Sunday school. We had a good Christian family. I was the black sheep sort of thing. So, but I had a really good start. But I had some troubles. I never felt like I was a leper. I heard you saying earlier, I never felt like I was ostracized or pushed out, but yet I felt apart and alone in some ways. And when I found other people that related to drugs and alcohol like I did, then I fit in. And I heard you mention earlier about surrounding yourself with people of one kind or the other. And so what I surrounded myself with was people who did drugs and alcohol like I did, so that we fit in. We made our group. And I had relations with normies, my family and friends that did not. Well, actually, I guess my only friends outside of my family were the people who spent time playing drugs and alcohol like I did. Okay. So.
Well,
that's
okay.
what I had to hear.
Yeah. So we're real quickly before we let you go, we're getting some comments that are coming in about and depending on how you pronounce it. Oh, I've heard saying Camillus, like you said, Camillus. Okay. But the saint, according to some of the internet sites, was addicted to gambling and lost everything before recovery. So a great saint to lean on when we have anything that we just really can't, seem to get a grip on. Okay, so that's a great. I think it's important to surround ourselves with those saints that can really help us move along. One other thing I just want to say really quickly. And it came up with David's call as well. He labeled the group normies, right? I guess that's the quote unquote normal people that haven't had addictions. I really take issue with that because I really think, none of us are normal. What is normal? And, I really struggle with this whole idea. When you said about the being in the box and God can reach in the box, I would just say this, okay? I completely agree with that. God can reach in the box, but those boxes shouldn't exist. We are sons and daughters of God. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Let's rise to that. Yes, we're going to have ups and downs and hard times and setbacks. But when we have setbacks, God is preparing our comeback. It's a huge thing. And if we can break free from those labels, I think it'll let people really live their best life, their purpose-driven life. What do you think, Jerry? I'm on a roll here.
Well, I know how strongly you feel about that, and I agree completely. And I think when we do limit ourselves by boxes and labels, as you like to say, then it is limiting. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with saying I have a problem with this or that or the other thing, but I think what you're saying is it shouldn't become your ultimate identity. Your ultimate identity is as a son and daughter of God. Do I have you right on
Absolutely. Well, I'm actually even referring to the LGBTQ community. Okay, they're labeled under a letter and then a phrase, and that's who they identify, and they say that's who I am. No, you're a son or daughter of God, of the Most High. It's amazing when you think about it at that level. You're taking it much bigger than what something, as the world identifies you. So I just want to thank you so much from calling in from Texas, and we appreciate your call. And I hope you get to learn about those wonderful saints that are there to help us and to minister to us. So thank you for that. Sorry, Jerry, I get on a little roll here, and I'm probably going to get a lot of emails going. Debbie, there's nothing wrong with labels. Well, my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Speaking of going, Carry Catholic Radio and Television, EWTN, wherever you go. EWTN has apps available for the Android and the Apple devices and Kindle Fire, and now on Amazon's Alexa. So all you have to do is go to EWTNapps.com, EWTNapps.com, find out which one works on your device, and then you can take EWTN wherever you go as well.
Okay, I hope I get your first name right. Is it Emil in Gastonia, North Carolina? Carolina Catholic Radio is the way you're listening. Welcome. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Hi, Emil. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. I wanted to call just to celebrate. This has been 17 years. I first smoked tobacco when I was 12 years old. And I've been 21 days without smoking, and I think it's maybe been 8 years since I've gone longer than 3 days. So I've been particularly grateful for the breath lately.
Beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask same thing I asked the previous caller. I think it was David. Emil, what do you think? What do you think gave you the extra boost this time to make it up to 21 days and hopefully a lot longer than that?
Oh, that is
God's grace.
I would say, like what? Maybe to return the question, like what does it take for a bird to fly? Like how many connections to make here, and I don't know. I guess maybe to put it the most simply is something I've called the practice of at least, and whether it be if I'm working on adjusting attitudes, trying to be more grateful or manage my time better or portion my food better, like recognizing, okay, what is it within my ability to respond, and what is the least I can do to break the momentum of so many habituated patterns. And sometimes I think through this over-identification with either a feeling state that is urging me towards a particular pathway, that it can be difficult through thoughts or affirmations alone just to break that momentum. But if the more, the more I can nurture those little habits, if it's, I think throughout the days they grow, and
Well, Emil, may I just say something real quickly? You were talking about habits. We have good habits and we have not so good habits. Bad habits that we kind of go into, and sometimes they overwhelm us. And so, and a great way to replace those things is when we're in a situation where it's not really good for us, as human beings, right? We can replace it with a very good habit. And I don't know if you've done this already, Emil, but I full disclosure, I think I disclosed it many years ago. I used to smoke cigarettes when I was in high school and college, and in the restaurant business, everybody smoked cigarettes. And when I quit, I started running, I started jogging, and it was the best thing I ever did. And I was told by a doctor that was actually quite brilliant. I didn't realize it at the time, but as my lungs were getting healthier and I replaced it with a good habit of that kind of, exercise and running outside, it was really a good thing for me to do. Have you thought about it like that? I don't know if you got into any type of exercise that could replace the smoking habit.
Oh, I just went on a run this morning.
Good, cool, very cool.
By the river.
Yeah, it's great feeling when your lungs get stronger and stronger, and it's a great thing, and that's what God wants for us. So I say kudos to you, Emil. Very cool call. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely. Do call anytime to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Got to get a text out there because our friend Ron says, please, prayers, please. I'm Anthony, quote unquote, and at 60 years of life, I'm plagued by decades-long addictions from 40 to 55 years of oppression. Having had a broken family with addicts and abuses, the Catholic Church has kept me alive. I have the words, help me, Lord, in my mind and on my lips. Been through my counseling and many prayers on my own, and people met through the decades because of health concerns. I'm concerned for my soul because of current conditions. Thank you and God bless. He says, please read on the air the prayers, especially for our good friend Anthony there. And he does say that it was St. Maximilian Kolbe. It was carbolic acid that they injected into him to end his life after he wouldn't cooperate in starving to death like the others, so they just wanted to get rid of him. Yeah.
And our dear friend Richard Reyna from Guadalupe Radio Network just said, Jerry, could you please share the phone number, the help phone number for those that are trying to get assistance to get out of these addictions? Could you share it again, please?
Yeah, one of the agencies that we are aware of, there may be many, there probably are many, but this is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration Services National Helpline, 800-662-HELP, 800-662-HELP or 4357. So please make use of that if you are in any kind of a situation where you need that help.
Are we going to have time to any social media or any more calls, or you make the
Well, we've got a lot of social media. Any call would probably have to be. We'd probably have to jump in real quickly there. So.
Okay, so then we're going to ask Carol in Sioux Falls, Philip in Snowflake. And Philip, you've tried to reach us a couple times. Please email us. Pat in Dodge City, Kansas. Email us. Tell us your story so we can highlight it on the next time we tackle this topic again. The email is take2@ewtn.com. And the others that are calling in now, we're so sorry we're not going to get to you today. But Jerry, we had those comments? Yes?
Yeah, we do. And one of our listeners, Zach, actually just reminded us of Blessed Matt Talbot as well, who was on his way to sainthood and was a very, very horrific alcoholic and then did much penance for the rest of his life. Matthew said, hello, everyone. Really interesting topic, a different take on the subject. But for me, I'm struggling with the addiction of a particular type of lie, making up facts to bolster myself in front of others. It's becoming quite chronic, and in my spiritual life, it's put me in a gray area with regard to my being in a state of grace. With a recent rejuvenation in my prayer life, I'm trying to weed it out. So Matthew will be praying for that. DJ on YouTube says, with all going on in the world, people are addicted to the news. People feel they have to watch, but news media, make money getting people addicted to anger and fear. Great take by DJ on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and actually for Matt, life skills would be great. So go to standtalltoday.com and get a free consultation. Also, Jerry, I'm getting a lot of text messages saying they loved Abby Johnson's talk and Nick Sandman's. They want to know how to get it. I think online the talks are there. So please look for that. Tomorrow, we're going to ask you to finish the sentence, my life is ... That's tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Except I blew Ron's alias.
Yeah, that's okay.
I couldn't figure it out from his text. He goes, "I'm Anthony."
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah,
no, you're
that's
not.
okay.
You're Ron.
We just got 3 new coaching.
Oh, good.
They're coming in like crazy.